All right, so I saw an article that said practice pretty much doesn't make perfect, and it's saying they do like scientific research to say that you could practice all you want, but that's only gonna comprise of maybe like 15% of your development, and the rest is pretty much up to your genetics and like other things that have nothing to do with practicing. And it says that when you're at
Mm.
a very, very high level, practice only makes up like 1% of your development. Um, I don't know exactly how true those numbers are statistically, but
Yeah.
before reading the article, I already saw that as truth without scientifically being proven, but just kind of looking at things and seeing things, for what they are. Um, just like based on my own personal experiences, like I already did it. You know what I mean? Like I used to play basketball like all the time, and look at Michael Jordan and be like, oh, I want to be like that. But then it's like, no matter how much I do it, there's impossible. It's like it just will not work. Like people are
Yeah.
born with certain gifts and talents and skills that I don't care how much you practice, you'll never be able to do what they do. I think
Yeah.
people, to me, almost have like a natural destiny towards a certain path. Like, I think a lot of things are, either dealing with like reincarnation, rebirth, or just genetics. Like your parents, just basically your parents, and then your grandparents and your great grandparents is like this genetic makeup kind of like gives you a certain advantage and edge in certain areas of life and then disadvantages in other areas. To me, it's similar to like wealth. Like, your family through history could have accumulated an immense amount of wealth through a period of like 2 centuries or whatnot, or 200 years, and they might have amassed like $10 billion, and then you're born into wealth. And I don't care, how hard you work, you know, and then you're born poor, you'll never be able to make that much money because you started off already at a disadvantage. So
True.
I mean, in my own personal experiences, I could train in I could practice basketball like 20 hours a day every single day, but that's not going to make me into what Michael Jordan was, because I wasn't built that way, you know.
Yeah, because you don't have his height basically.
Yeah, and it's not just about height either. You got people that are tall, but it doesn't mean that they're Michael Jordan. There's a lot of people that are tall,
Yeah.
but they're still not Michael Jordan. I mean, but when it comes to reaching, like basically representing an elite level, that practice is what sets you apart from like everybody else. So meaning you can't just depend on genetics and just sit down and do nothing. You gotta still practice
True.
because that practice is what sets you apart from them. Because even if you look at sports, everything is so like down to like the minuscule, like like it is so precise. Like meaning, like you look at the Olympics, and you got the difference between the winner, the first place and second place, is just a matter of like a hundredths of a second. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Hmm.
not like the winner is winning by like 10 seconds or something like that. I mean, they're winning, barely winning. Like it's like so close. So that practice gives you that little, that little like that little edge, but it's not like clearly not everything. You can't just think that you could just. For me, to me, the truth from my experiences is that you just can't be whatever you want to be and be like the best. You have to basically see where your strengths are, what you're like born with, or what God gave you, or whatever, and then you gotta work with that to, if you want to reach your ultimate potential. Or
Yeah.
you could always get better at certain things, but you're not gonna be like one of the best just because you practice a lot. You know,
True.
like
And also, I've been thinking about this too. When people say you gotta practice, but what are you practicing that's gonna make you better too? Because you can practice hard as you can, but if you're practicing the wrong things, you're not gonna get better either.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to me, it's not too relevant because when you're talking about art, it's not supposed to be competitive. Like you're just supposed to just
Yeah,
practice because you enjoy it, not because you're trying to be better than somebody else. If you're just practicing it just because you want to be better than someone else, then maybe you're not doing what you truly love. You know, so it's not really relevant. That article is not really relevant to my development because I want to
mm-hmm.
represent an artist. So it's not about being better than other people. If anything, it's just about doing what you enjoy, and then if anything, you just get better according to yourself. And like no matter if you got good genetics or bad genetics, if you practice, you're gonna improve either way. If you compare yourself to
True.
yourself, but if you compare yourself to other people who have better genetics than you, then yeah, you might get very disappointed when you see that hey, you'll never be able to do what some of these people can do, which
Yeah.
is which is basically just facing the reality for what it is. That's the
Yeah, and
truth.
basically, I think I'm getting to a point where that people should like stop having that competitive mind so much. And also, even with speed, you shouldn't try to be faster than everybody else. You should get yourself faster. Don't try to be stronger than somebody else. Just be stronger than, yeah, just be stronger. So I think whether as an artist or not, that approach should be like, you know what, I want to practice because I want to get myself better, you know.
Yeah, but I think sports is just the wrong approach because even if you're just thinking about getting yourself better, the whole idea of sports is comparison to other people, pretty much.
And that's the problem with it though.
And yeah, so then basically there's an entire problem with sports, because they're always making um, they're always making a comparison between winning and losing, and that ends up automatically putting, you know, forcing upon an unhealthy mindset. Because
Yeah.
to do a sport at a high level, it's like it's like against the law to give up or to not try your hardest. Like they call it like like even basketball games. Imagine like this team, they just purposely let the other team win. Like that is a big like no. Like that basically is something that they highly discourage, and they it's almost like they force you to try your best. Otherwise, they'll lock you up or fire you or whatever the case may be. So sports is like already pushing people towards an unhealthy type of mentality or development. That's the nature of a sport.
Wait, you said lockup though?
I mean, it could be against the law. Like when you're like, say, you're taking in a bribe and then you purposefully like lose a match. Like they could like lock you up for stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like professional type of stuff.
Mm.
Because there's all this money involved. Like like say you're a boxer, you're a golfer, or you're on a football team, and then everybody's like betting on the game, like who's gonna win, who's gonna lose, and then you purposefully lose. You know, like that is a big thing where it's corruption that they call it. And they have penalties for that. They could like kick you out of the entire league or whatever the case may be, or even like lock you up or something. Because even taking steroids, they could lock you up because that's against the law too.
Yeah.
It's like there's just so much corruption, and so much competitiveness. It's like you can't. There's like no way that you can really survive in that type of competitive industry while being soft. It's like you gotta either be in it to be in it, or you just got to get out of it and just not deal with it. You know, like that's kind of what I see. So it's like if you want to be a less competitive person, or you don't want to be competitive anymore, then I think you just need to stay away from sports, because sports is the representation of competition, you know? Because, I mean, even when I used to play sports, it's like, it's not fun when the people that you're playing with, they're not even trying.
Yeah.
You know, like, then it becomes pointless because they're not even trying anyway, so why even play, you know? So I can understand it's like forcing you to kind of get involved in that type of winning losing type thing, you know, but I guess you could try but just not take it too seriously. And for you yourself personally, like you don't care if you win or lose, but you're just doing it for fun or whatnot. But
Yeah.
but I don't know, you know, like, but yeah.
And I guess it's something I think about though.
Yeah.